Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Nonprofits. So cue the X-Files music. Could it be aliens? Or could it just be a giant ice rock zooming past the planet? Tracy, let's probe deeper. Shall we?
Hello, friends. Hello, friends. It seems that time has finally come. Contact with extraterrestrials is on the horizon, or so says Avi Loeb, Harvard physicist. Professor Loeb has said he believes that an incoming extrasolar object called by astronomers 31/Atlas and by myself as the mothership could be produced by alien intelligence. The only reason given in the article is that there appears to be a light source ahead of this object, rather than a tail stretching behind, putting to bed all of those pesky things you were talking about, Helen, about it being an ice ball zooming by. Professor Loeb urges the world's governments to take this possibility more seriously and form a central committee to form policy in the event of extraterrestrial contact. This nonprofit is not opposed to the idea. I just recommend we get our own house in order before we start planning a dinner party in case the neighbors we don't even know if we have decide to stop by. This story is from the New York Post by Alex Oliveira on August 10th, 2025.
Okay. I mean, I love a fun story. This is great.
Super fun.
It's too
Good
fun.
palate cleanser.
Okay. I love it. So, Tracy. Okay.
Yes.
The report says that the comet has a light ahead of it. Okay. Could this simply be a perspective issue, like our solar system's movement making it appear that way? Or could there really be a light there? Or maybe people are jumping to conclusions, and how do we avoid that happening when ordinary physics could possibly explain what people are actually seeing?
So I think that this is a case like you were talking about, Helen, where people are jumping the gun a bit but also Professor Loeb is just saying it could be. That's such a non-committal thing that I'm like, okay, well, tell me when it is. That's kind of my attitude here. Everything could be. This thing I have right in my hand could be of extraterrestrial origin until I open it up and you see that it's just an Allen wrench. Like, until we further investigate this.
It could be an extraterrestrial Allen wrench.
Yeah, there you got extraterrestrial Allen wrench right there. How are the aliens going to do their little hex screws? But no, I think that there's also the case to be made. What do they mean by there's a light ahead of it? A light in the direction of its relative travel to our position? Direction is relative in space. So it could simply be that because our solar system is also moving, there is in fact a trail behind that object in the direction it's moving compared to another thing. I know far too little about 31 Atlas to say anything confidently, and apparently so does Avi Loeb to say anything confident, apparently. It just could be.
Okay. I mean, it could be Falcor the Luck Dragon, taking a trio to the ivory tower.
Yeah!
If you get that reference, your back hurts. Anyway, so with that being said, could be that. So, okay, this is a fun story, and yeah, it could be. It might be late, but why are we jumping to extraterrestrials? It could, if we don't have other explanations, it's kind of like alien of the gaps. We don't know what it is, so we're gonna say it's aliens, and then we're gonna, and then we'll be on an episode of Ancient Aliens on the History Channel. Just you wait, guys. So, Kelly,
sure.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I wanted to point out that Loeb is a theoretical physicist. So it's kind of his job to come up with theoretical scenarios, right? I mean, it's like he's supposed to come up with. So One of the things that nobody's mentioned is that this thing has entered our solar system faster than any other interstellar object that we've ever recorded. So that is another thing that I think Loeb has taken into consideration here. And I actually did a lot of reading on this one because I thought it really intrigued me. And some scientists are saying that it's emanating a light source, that the light source is actually within it. And others are saying that it's behind it. And of course, as you know, and as most of our viewers probably know, a light source from a comet would come from the trail ice crystals behind it. So that is kind of really weird. But other scientists have looked at the surface of it, and I have a quote here, because like I said, I looked around. We also saw that this object is active, which means that around the nucleus there is some coma, which is an indication that the object is in fact a comet. And that came from David Farnokia, a NASA navigation engineer. So there are scientists who are actually saying that this is nothing but a comet. I just wanted to point that out. So now, would it be great if it was aliens? Fucking A, right? And that brings up another scenario. If it is aliens, do we let them contact us?
If they're close encounters of the third kind aliens. Like, you gotta be careful with kind of aliens.
It is on its current trajectory. It's going to fly about 170 million miles from Earth. So we're not in danger of an impact or anything. And it's not coming here, but it is flying through the solar system. So, and that's why I think Loeb thinks it might be a probe instead of an actual ship. Maybe it's just coming through collecting information.
Okay, but like Kelly, the media says that this is close to Earth, though it's tens of millions of miles away. So close, I guess, is relative. So
in space, 130 million miles in space is probably pretty close. So
but like when you say close to Earth, I'm thinking like how close like the moon is, like when it's close to Earth. That's my thinking. Like, oh, it's about where the moon is, tens of millions of miles away. That's a little more less concerning. But,
so your mind's more at ease now about the aliens landing.
Right. Exactly. And if they're probing, I don't know what they're going to catch from tens of millions of miles away.
That's an awful big probe.
It is a big probe.
And I'm wondering where they're going to fit that into the Earth.
So
I've often heard that Cleveland was the asshole of the Earth, so maybe they're going to land there.
So okay. The sensational framing of this whole thing, right, is overshadowing with the actual scale of the astronomical events. Like, do you think that they're using the aliens for people to pay like attention to it, or do you think people are like, no, it's really good, it's really aliens, guys? Like, it so is. Like, do you think it's the sensational framing that people are now paying attention to, now the fact that it's just a comet shouldn't pass?
I'm sorry, Helen. I was dealing with some microphone issues. Were you specifically talking to me?
No, I was talking to Kelly.
Okay,
I'm
good.
sorry.
There was a big
thought
pause.
You were talking to Tracy.
Okay, everything was all right. All right, I was dealing with microphone issues.
It's the aliens messing with our brains, man.
Yeah, they're already getting our brains with their alien rays.
Get your tinfoil back on. I'm sorry.
So yeah, like I'm wondering if this is a probe, and my son and I were talking about this earlier today. Do we do the dark forest thing where we just like stay quiet and don't let them know we're here? Or do we reach out to them and let them know we are here if we find out this is in fact a probe? Do we want aliens knowing that we are here? I think that's a big question.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, Tracy.
I think there's just too many unknowns. I think there's just too many unknowns.
Really?
I can't say whether or not I'd want an alien to know if I'm here or not. Like, They could be the aliens that have like the secret to infinite youth and the cure for AIDS, and they're just walking around the universe like, I just want to give it. I need to find someone to give it to. That seems to me just as likely as the ones who are coming here looking for work.
They could be 8 feet tall, wearing long robes, and have big, huge foreheads, carrying a book called "How to Serve Man" too. So
there you go. And
it could be the
it could be the case that they want to subjugate us, but in such a way that we would still be uplifted from our current station.
That was a classic Twilight Zone episode. The
love that
book
episode.
To Serve Man turned out to be a cookbook.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. I've not watched it. I'm sorry, Kelly.
I got that reference. I've seen that episode. So.
It's one of the classic episodes.
Okay,
As a baby.
Tracy, hold on. So Avi Loeb is a theoretical physicist. His job is to consider like wild scenarios, Tracy, okay?
Yes.
But is there a danger when speculation like it could be alien hits the headlines before peer review or consensus of science has weighed in?
Yeah, there's definitely a danger. We could end up building a massive docking station in orbit waiting for the mothership to come in and give us whatever the heck it's coming to give us. And there just turns out to be a comet that zooms partway between Earth and Mars and just keeps going. There is a risk. I don't think that I don't think that that's a huge risk right now. I think that this is kind of a, like you guys were saying, sort of, at least I thought I picked that up. It's sort of like a fluff piece to try and get a little bit more attention to I don't know, maybe Dr. Loeb, or maybe Dr. Loeb really thinks that this is there's actually aliens coming. Maybe he's sitting there with his tinfoil, just waiting it out. But I don't think so. There doesn't seem to be much of a current risk, but there is a possible danger if it is taken too seriously. Yes.
I also think too that, like Kelly, you're a scientist, that people think that, because you do scientific study, that you are perfectly logical, perfectly skeptical, that you have all your ducks in a row, and you're never given to flights of fancy. So exactly. So with that framing, why do you think like people like, and it's important to take people in authority on a certain subject seriously. Like, I'm not saying that, Avi Loeb got to the position that he's in because he's probably a very, very smart boy. But also at the same time, if you're betting on aliens, I have to wonder, like, is this sensationalism? Are you trying to get attention? Maybe a little bit of both, or maybe you really think there's aliens. It kind of it makes people wonder about scientific skepticism when a scientist is bringing this forth as serious.
Yeah, one of the first things I did when I read the article, because it doesn't really tell you who Avi Loeb is, so I went and checked him out. And this guy's like a serious scientist. He's not just some crackpot guy with a PhD, because there are plenty of crackpots out there with PhDs. I've met several of them myself. So, you wonder why he is making this thing, and maybe he is really serious about it. Hey, you know what? If this is a probe, why haven't we thought about it? Why hasn't the world community come up with a plan for, even if this isn't a probe, why haven't we come up with a plan for when a probe does show up? And I think that's kind of an important idea, important question. And him sounding an alarm about this thing is probably not the right thing to do, but him to come out and say, hey, we need to make a plan for this scenario, it definitely seems logical to me. So I think maybe he's doing this to say, look, this is one of those things that could happen right now. It's happening. And even if it doesn't happen right now, we still have to come up with a plan for when it does happen.
Okay. So, then that raises an interesting question. So, Tracy, since Kelly brought this up, I'm going to shoot this to you, then I'm going to shoot it back to Kelly.
Shoot it.
What should we do?
Well,
should we do it like an Armageddon kind of thing where we land on it and blow it apart?
My main problem is just that, like with this particular comet or whatever it may be, I don't think there's anything we need to do. We don't need to Armageddon it. We don't need to deep impact it. We don't need to do any of that. But for the future, for like making a plan for possible extra solar entities, I mean, okay, yeah, sure, have fun, go ahead, knock yourself out. But I'm like, if you don't know anything about these extrasolar entities, how can you possibly plan for them? You're planning for the unknown, which sounds to me like you can only plan for those things you've already encountered. You can't really plan for an unknown example other than to just be prepared at all times. And I mean, we're about as good as that.
How do we be prepared?
That's the question.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is we need to have some preparedness plan. When they show up, do we refer them to the United Nations? Do we refer them to the President of the United States, who seems to be the most powerful person in the world? You know, what exactly do we do?
Or do we get Wilson on the case and start converting them to Christianity?
Right. And I think Loeb. I just thought of that. I don't know if you've ever seen the cartoon with the two aliens with the looking at Jesus on the cross, saying, "Man, we got to get off this planet now."
Right.
But
I heard a similar story.
Yeah.
But I think Loeb is correct in like pointing out that we are not prepared for this to happen, and we need to. I mean, he mentioned setting up some kind of international committee that can, look at the options. Like, we don't know what the aliens are going to be like. I agree with you on that. But the scenario of them showing up is still going to be the same. We still have to have some kind of reaction to them, right?
Well, that's the thing is, I don't think we can prepare because of how little we know nothing. We don't even know that our weapons would be effective. We don't know that turning off all of our electricity would even work in hiding. We don't know how to hide. We don't know how to fight. We don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to do any of those things. And those are the only real options I see in the event of an extrasolar contact. So like if we don't know how to do any of those things, we can only do our best, I suppose. But I mean, what's our best look like? Our best might still be shit.
I mean, I think it's an impossible scenario to even plan for, because we don't know what are we preparing for. Okay, let's say it is a probe. Okay, that can see 30 million miles away. Like, think about that. Like, that technology is way beyond anything that we have to a certain degree. If they're able to gather any significant data about our planet and us and the life and other life that lives here. So that's one thing we have to think about. And two, are they benevolent? Are they neutral? Are they trying to scope out our planet for resources? There's a whole bunch of different scenarios that we could be looking at. I don't think it's like we live in a universe of an abundance of resources. The fact that they would come here for something seems a little silly, but I'm not saying it's outside the realm of possibilities. And there's no way we don't know anything about any alien species anywhere in the universe. All we can do is speculate. So if we're just speculating, how do we even put this together with actual real science? I'm asking both of you, just out of curiosity. And he's muted again. And he's freeing.
Oh, sorry, I had to say a whole bunch of things I'm not allowed to say. I think that we have to leave it up to people like Avi. I think Avi, the theoretical physicist, you know what? Let's get a theoretical biologist and a theoretical sociologist in on this. That's all we can really do is speculate. And, you know, we got these people whose job it is to speculate, like Avi, like Dr. Loeb, or I don't know if he's a doctor, Professor Loeb. And I think that's the only place it can really be is in these speculative places, like what Kelly was saying. Who like the really abstract planning. Who do we refer them to if we can refer them to somebody? Like that kind of planning, I think is harmless as long as we're not building a docking arm or training up xenolinguistic specialists when we don't even know what xenolinguistics are. Like I think that the really baseline planning, like Kelly's talking about, can't be harmful. It can only be helpful. So I'm just trying to have more fun with it. What do you have to say, Kelly?
I totally agree with. I mean, I totally agree with that. That's what I'm talking about. We just do need to have some kind of baseline plan, even though we can't possibly fathom every type of scenario that's going to happen with any type of alien that shows up. You know, but we need to be prepared in some way, somehow. So, you know, and I think Avi going out and talking about this might be a benefit to humankind. Who knows? One thing I'm glad to see is that this thing is passing 170 million miles away. So if it is aliens, they are smart enough to leave us alone.
Make sure to duck. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, exactly. So, final question, Kelly, favorite alien movie?
My favorite alien movie? Oh my gosh! You know the original Alien when that came out, and I took my girlfriend to see it in the theater, and I had a bruise on my arm from her squeezing it. That's totally the truth. I still love that movie. It was one of the greatest horror sci-fi movies of all time.
Tracy?
Avatar. The blue people movie, the one that was the highest. Don't talk whatever you want. It was the highest grossing movie of all time for a while.
No shade. I'm with Kelly. I am a xenomorph girl. You both know that. So I would tell you, our audience, to look for stuff with xenomorphs, but we don't really have anything on this channel. But anyway, but please, but there is science stuff. So look for a science video, click on it, learn some other stuff. Please like and subscribe, leave a comment, help the algorithm, buy some merch, and we'll see you all here next week. Bye, everybody. Good night. Bye-bye.